Hello, everybody. Welcome. The stream will be starting soon. Hey, everybody. How you doing? Look at my nice new camera. Look how nice everything is with this new camera. Isn't it great? Isn't it lovely? Now, do I need to get some fucking LEDs on my wall back there? Jesus Christ. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's stream. We're going to have some fun. Welcome, New Navy CB. Welcome, Leandra. You're watching Adam Ruins Everything As We Speak. Incredible. You guys down to learn about birds again today? We into learning about birds. We did birds last week, and I still love birds, and I love learning about them, and I don't necessarily have the strength to do something more like touchy. You know what I mean? More Adam Ruins Everything-y, and I just want to learn about the wonders of nature. What do you guys think? You think a green screen would be fun? I don't want more fucking equipment in my house. You have lots of channel points. Can I make more channel point rewards? How do I make channel point rewards? I admit I don't know. Manage rewards. Enable challenge points. Oh, God. There's so many fucking currencies on here. Visit the collection. People can make me take a sip of water? This stuff is wild. When is timeout? You can make it so that you use the reward and it times you out. You can make it so you can time someone else out for 6,000 channel points. Okay, I'm going to add reward, guide the raid. I don't know how that works, but I added it. This is weird. Another one is reset my speed run. Make me restart my speed run for 75,000. Who came up with these? What's your big news, Big Brown Nintendo? I gotta give my reward a name. This is weird stuff. All right, I tweeted about this. How's everyone doing today? How are we doing? How's it going, Bake? Yeah, no, I know what. After a stream of yours, you raid someone, and the person who redeemed it chooses who. I don't know how they redeem that, but you love my show on True TV. I'm so happy. Well, you'll enjoy my new show that I'm doing on Netflix called The G Word, although it is delayed Our shooting is delayed because of COVID, naturally, so I'm not sure entirely when it's going to come out yet. But now, should I get a second light? I'm a little shadowed here. I got one of these Elgato lights, and I can change the color of it. Look at that. Now I'm super blue. Now I'm super yellow. Now I'm kind of in between. That's actually pretty good. Yes, new show eventually. Not quite yet, but eventually. Need them gamer lights. You think I got to get the fucking gamer lights in the back? I also need to move my camera's eye line down very slightly. The darkness has that rustic feel. Yeah. All right. Oh, here. There's a nice... where is it? Nice video here of 3 hours of super relaxing Super Nintendo music. That might be nice to have on in the background. Very quietly. Unless that's too distracting to everybody. You've watched all my episodes. Thank you, Langer589. No, I know they're giving out strikes all over the place, but I mean, this is music from the Super Nintendo game Waterworld, so I don't think they'll give out strikes for this. Good luck at the dentist. Slay for streaming. Oh, thank you, Michaela Sims. Appreciate that. Thanks for coming by. Okay, I'll be careful. Gee, I mean, it's all media is copyrighted, but you know, I didn't think that the producers of the 1990 probably 2 Super Nintendo game Waterworld were going to issue copyright strikes for their soundtrack. But you know what? Better safe than sorry. Better safe than sorry. You want to learn about Pearl Harbor Day? You want to learn about Pearl Harbor? I want to keep learning about birds. I think we're doing well with our bird thing. You got flagged because you played public domain carnival calliope music from the 1800s. You know, this is the problem with copyright strikes. We could learn about copyright strikes instead. This is the problem with copyright strikes, is that songs that incorporate like a sample of public domain music will then, like your calliope music from the 1800s, will then use sonic fingerprinting to issue strikes against songs that play the original. They've sampled the public domain, and then they have copyrighted their new version, right? So like some rapper or whatever, they make a song that samples the public domain calliope music, strange rap song, but let's just say that's what it is. And then, because that song is copyrighted, the label then starts issuing strikes to anything that is a sound-alike of that, which includes people who are just playing the original public domain recording. So people end up getting copyright strikes when they're playing something that's actually in the public domain. This is something the kind of thing that happens all the time. With algorithmic copyright strikes, it's a real problem. Got chills from reading Gascon's thread this afternoon. Oh, is that the new city attorney, district attorney here in Los Angeles? Don't go back through the backlog. I mean, you can. It's fine if you want. What mic do I use? This is an RE20. Electro Voice RE20. Beloved by radio hosts the world over. We do have a lot of saved of my Souls likes. A lot of new video games have copyright licenses for their soundtracks which do not apply to streaming. Yeah, that's a problem as well. So we'll learn about some stuff. Let's learn about birds. And then we'll play some video games. How about that? I do paint my nails without scratching off. This is a nice, you can see there's a little bit remaining on the thumb there. See that? See that? scratching off. The autofocus works pretty well on this new cam. You guys think I need to increase the exposure at all? I think maybe it's okay. I have played D&D before. I know I should redo it, but I maybe I'll switch up colors. Although it does match this shirt here. So just to remind you guys, my name is Adam Conover. I host a television show called Adam Ruins Everything. Every Monday we do a learning stream here. Every Thursday we do stand-up comedy. Increasing the exposure will make the frame rate worse. Oh, I think I see why. I set it to manual, but then I didn't set what the manual was. You know, I didn't set like... I don't really know how to use this fancy camera I got. It's going good, John Robert Wilson. Hey, John Robert Wilson. Good to see you. Have I heard about Rebecca Jones? She's a scientist in Florida who was asked by Governor DeSantis to lie about the figures of COVID cases, but refused, and the police raided her house and pointed a gun at her and everyone. How can I demand my state government to impeach that motherfucker? I don't know that specific case, but if you want to demand your state government do something, taking to the streets with finding like-minded people who feel the same way you do, and taking to the streets is really, really a good way to go about it. Like, let me show you. There was recently here in Los Angeles, we've had many, many protests, and the cops just went and attacked peaceful protesters at Mayor Garcetti's mayoral residence. Which is terrible, but it got a lot more attention for what they're trying to do, which is prevent Mayor Garcetti from becoming a member of Biden's cabinet because, you know, a lot of people in LA feel he was a bad mayor and he shouldn't be rewarded for sucking so hard. Adam, can you ruin socialism? I am a socialist, but I want to learn new stuff. I don't have anything for that offhand off the top of my head. Yes, I was a guest on Not Another D&D podcast, and I had a great time on that. Can we have a whole Adam Ruins Everything segment where we teach people that Wales, Scotland, and Ireland aren't England? Yeah, sure. Let's talk about that a little bit. Oh, what the hell? Okay, hold on a second. I have not prepared this. I need to add new source. I forgot. I need to add this. Bam, bam. Wham, bam. Ba, boom, ba, boo. Yo-da-da-da-da. Let's restructure this a little bit. Because I could be bigger in the frame. Let's do it this way. Let's learn about Wales. How about that? Okay. So England, because I'm always confused by this too. Okay, England is a country that's part of the United Kingdom. Here's England. Everything else in there is the light green stuff is the United Kingdom. Okay? England. Now, the United Kingdom is a country. So England is a country that's part of the United Kingdom. The Kingdom of England ceased being a separate sovereign state on 1707 when the Acts of Union, resulting in a political union with the Kingdom of Scotland to create the Kingdom of Great Britain. And then it was united with the Kingdom of Ireland. They became the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. But in 1922, the Irish Free State seceded from the United Kingdom, leading to the latter to be renamed the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So we zoomed in a little bit too aggressively. Okay, so Great Britain Great Britain is this island. The island is called Great Britain. This island here. This is It was the largest European island, the 9th largest island in the world. We were going to learn about birds, but now we're learning about whales. Very different. Okay, so I've seen a graph of this before, that the United Kingdom is the largest thing. Where's a map? What the heck? So United Kingdom includes England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. Now, that's Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So Great Britain includes Scotland, Wales, and England. Now, Wales is the one you don't hear about much. What the hell's up with Wales? People are always talking about Scotland. People are always talking about England. This is going to end up with us playing Crusader Kings 3, isn't it? Don't forget to change my caption. Yeah. My title. Those are the Isle of Man. The hell is the Isle of Man? A little island. So this is good preparation for me being on Jeopardy one day. Self-governing British Crown dependency situated in the Irish Sea between Great Britain and Ireland. What a little island. Being part of Scotland, it was ruled by Norway. Man, you get why the Norwegians are always attacking the British. Look how close they are. The GDP is $7 billion. Not so bad. It's a self-governing dependency. Huh. It's got a great fucking flag. Look at this. Look how great that flag is. Incredible flag. 3 legs in a star of legs. I love this flag. It's so good. Imagine if you saw this. If you were in battle and you saw this coming down a hilltop, spinning towards you at full speed, you'd be terrified. Yeah, it can't fall over. You try to push this, it does not fall down. What the hell is this thing called? Yeah, those are spurs. That's right. Put this on the back of the horse. That horse is going to run, baby. Unbelievable. Let's see if we can learn about... Okay, Flag of the Isle of Man. It's a triskelion. A motif consisted of a triple spiral exhibiting rotational symmetry. Okay, so this is a triskelion consisting of 3 legs. They're known in Manx as Nye Tree Casa. Oh, Manx is its own language? Oh my god, there's so much to learn about here. Manx Gaelic. Oh, it's been extinct since 1974. Extinct as a first language. There are 1,800 second language speakers of it. It was recorded. Oh, that's good. This guy was the last surviving native speaker of Manx. Durt belulirish. Vil nigh parten to snow, Joe. And Cornish is another language like that. See, now, how come is it in the chat, no matter what we're talking about, you guys know a whole bunch? You said triskelion dates back to pre-Christianity. It's a druidic symbol of life and growth. How is that possible that you guys always know so much? Really unbelievable. That's one of my favorite things about this stream is we just get to hang out and learn shit together. So, Quincy, do you live in Wales? Want to talk about Creoles now that we're talking about languages? Maybe we shouldn't specify what we're learning about. Maybe we should just let Wikipedia go where it takes us when we do these streams. Just remind everybody, on Thursdays, we do a stand-up comedy stream, 5 p.m. Pacific time. We have 2 comics for you. You can see in the VODs. Last night, don't watch the last one. I bombed the intro. Go watch the comics. I bombed in the intro. I was not prepared. I had no good jokes. Oh, Osmosis, thanks for the sub. And I do pay the comics, so when you sub, that money is going to the comics because I don't make enough to really make a big profit myself. So thank you, Osmosis. Oh, Copernicus said, just want to say you downloaded Merlin after the birdwatching stream and started using it. Thanks for recommending it. I love Merlin, and I went birdwatching this weekend, and I can tell you guys about what birds I saw if you want to see. You live in Cardiff, so you're nowhere near Llanfair. Okay, what? Okay, Manx language. The Manx Museum. I want to go to the Isle of Man now. Okay. Is not known for definite why the symbol was initially adopted on the Isle of Man. Great stuff. The 3 legs. Not known for definite. I know, interesting phrasing, isn't it? Okay, Isle of Man. So it's government. So it has its own parliament called Tynwald. Oh, this is interesting. It's claimed to have been in continuous existence, purportedly making it the oldest continuous governing body in the world. The evidence supports a much later date. Tynwald. Now, I thought Iceland's was older. The Althing. This says this is the oldest surviving parliament in the world. Formed in 930. Love Iceland. The Althing. Isn't that a great name for a legislature? The Althing. Okay, birds. Should we get on birds? Yeah, more than 2 colors on that Congress. That's because with a lot of parliamentary systems, you can end up with many, many parties that have to form a coalition government. The Iceland Women's Strike. What's that? You know, we should get someone on to talk about birds on the podcast. Wow, women had a general strike in Iceland. That's really cool. Everyone says birds. Okay, let's do it. Wait, where's my... One second. Just going to log in. Okay, we got it. All right, we're working on Joy of Bird Watching. Let's see what's up next on Joy of Bird Watching, because it might be time to move on to learning about bird songs. You were hoping we would keep on about the UK and its various associated provinces. I don't know anything about the Audubon book heist. That sounds cool. So let's see what's up next in Joy of Bird Watching here. Behaviors to look and listen for. I think that we should do this one. Okay, I just have to pee, and then we'll be right back, and then we'll watch this video with this nice man. Okay, here we are.
The first step in learning to understand bird behavior is to get a sense of the range of things that birds do, the sorts of things that preoccupy the lives of birds. Sometimes birds act alone. Foraging and preening can be solitary experiences. But at other times, birds do things in pairs or small groups or even huge flocks. Two or more birds interacting is considered social behavior. Social behavior can be friendly, with some birds preening each other or working together to mate and breed. Sometimes social behavior seems to be mostly doing their own thing in a crowd of birds, sticking together with a group, but not interacting that much. And social behavior can be unfriendly too. Males in competition for mates interact with other males in hostile or even violent ways. Birds need to find food, obviously. They go about it in a wide variety of ways. They eat insects, fish, fruits, seed, nectar, and other things sometimes we can't even see. Expect birds to be constantly on the alert for small bits of food. Birds also have to take care of their plumage and their bodies. Flying requires smooth surfaces and intact flight feathers. Expect to see birds bathing and cleaning up, spending a lot of time grooming their feathers. And sometimes they get an itch, they have to scratch. It's all part of being alive. Birds make babies, of course. Breeding behavior usually occurs at specific times of the year, so don't expect to see courting, mating, and feeding young all year long. But the birds are pretty serious about it when the time is right. They can spend a lot of time and energy showing off to attract a mate and defending their territories. Life is all about reproducing and surviving. Especially for small birds, avoiding predators is an important concern each and every day. Sometimes that means being watchful, sitting quietly in a spot where they can
California quail, I really want to see one of
Sometimes
those.
it means hiding or freezing in place until a predator leaves. Sometimes it means hanging out with dozens and hundreds of other birds to hide behind. And sometimes it means taking a risk and harassing a predator to drive it away. The birds talk. They talk to the world at large, singing about mates and territory. They talk about predators. Sometimes they warn each other about predators. Sometimes they tell the predators what they think. They talk to each other about where they are, what their mood is, and whether it's time to go. And sometimes, just what they're talking about isn't all that obvious. But birds do communicate in a variety of ways, and we can eavesdrop on them once we learn what to look and listen for.
Eavesdrop.
Use this lesson to investigate the variety of ways birds behave and why.
All right, that's what we're going to learn about here. Oh, we already did a bunch of these. I forgot. All right, let's learn about anti-predator behavior. To survive, a bird needs to eat and not get eaten. Birds avoid predation in many ways. Approaching a predator harasses a behavior known as mobbing. Let's see that.
To survive, a bird needs to eat and not get eaten. Birds avoid predation in many ways. To avoid becoming somebody's lunch, birds have to be constantly alert to danger and ready to decide if they'll flee, hide, or fight back. Small birds are often on the lookout, like this white-throated sparrow. Notice how it's constantly looking up and not just down at the seeds it's eating? These redneck stints are trying to get some rest, but they still keep watch by keeping one eye open, taking cues from other flock members if they need to react quickly. Notice how some other birds react when one bird twitches. In a Florida scrub jay family, members coordinate their vigilance, with one jay going up onto a sentinel perch to look for predators. This leaves the rest of the family free to forage. If a predator comes near,
Good
birds either need
families.
to fly away or hide. This could mean getting into cover, like a burrow for young burrowing owls, or dense underbrush for songbirds, like this gray catbird. When a brooding semi-palmated sandpiper senses a threat, it flattens down tight and uses impressive camouflage to keep safe. Similarly, this greater sage grouse senses danger and crouches down to use the camouflage of his back plumage. But the cues of other fleeing sage grouse then convince him to fly away too. In some instances, birds don't flee from predators, but harass them. We call that mobbing, using calls and other behaviors to try to drive the predator away. Sometimes birds of multiple species will work together. Here, a group of forest birds react to a screech owl.
Let's see him do it.
If you hear an angry chorus like this, it might just mean that a predator is nearby, so be on the lookout. Don't be surprised to see small birds chasing after bigger ones. This male red-winged blackbird isn't afraid to strike a predator like this northern harrier flying through its territory.
Yeah, fuck you, Northern Harrier.
Even a smaller predator might attack a bigger predator in this way. This pair of peregrine falcons screaming and diving at a snowy owl provoked strong defensive reactions from the owl, who holds its wings spread high above its head and tries to keep its eyes on the stooping falcons.
You live in the valley, Michaela? Condors, owls, red-tailed hawks, lots of hummingbirds? Yeah. LA's good for birds. Okay, we got vigilance. I'm kind of rushing through this because the information in this course is pretty basic. Fleeing and hiding? Yeah, of course they do. Mobbing. Oh, look at this. Northern mockingbird mobbing a red-tailed hawk. These are ones we have in LA. And yeah, crows will go nuts on a hawk. Okay, great. Vocalizations. Whoa. Look at that auklet. Ah! 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 Did I make that face right? That bird's seen some shit, yeah. Okay, songs are long, loud vocalizations. Typically, this is the shit we gotta learn. We gotta learn the sounds birds make. Long, loud vocalizations, typically delivered from an exposed perch, with the presumed function of attracting mates or repelling territorial intruders. This definition isn't very precise. It can be difficult to distinguish between what is a song and isn't. Still, this definition works for most birds because most birds use special, conspicuous vocalizations to attract mates or defend territories. In temperate climates, do you know only about half of all birds do pretty much all the singing? Most females do not sing in cooler climates around the world, but both sexes tend to sing in tropical climes. Okay. Many species of birds begin their dawn chorus an hour before sunrise. Birds begin singing when there's just enough light to see. We don't know why. Might be the best time of day to attract females, an important time for territory defense, the most calm part of the day, or simply too early to forage. Wood thrushes have a particularly beautiful song. Let's hear it. It was very beautiful. These are the courses at All About Birds. You need to pay for these. But you need to pay for video games too, so. Very pretty. Musician wrens also sound great. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, it really sounds like an avant-garde flute player. Or recorder. Like a piccolo, yeah. Gorgeous. Calls can be defined as bird vocalizations that are shorter and simpler than typical song, and are less likely to function exclusively in attracting mates or defending territories. The variety of functions. The birds frequently have different calls that serve different purposes. Contact calls help members of a pair or flock keep track of each other. Flight calls given by migrants probably work the same way. Food calls attract offspring or mates to a different food source. Begging calls to get them to feed them, to get nestlings to get fed. Alarm calls warn other birds of approaching danger. Mobbing calls instruct other birds to harass a predator. Aggressive calls. Blue jay calls. Let's hear what that sounds like. Now that's a sound I would have almost associated with a crow or something. But yeah, that's a J sound. But J's are also corvids, right? Yes, they are in the crow family. Ha ha. Corvids. Yeah, you've heard that sound before, right? Like you hear that sound, you're like, oh yeah, I've heard that sound my whole life. For some reason, NGL, Sang Mole says, I forgot J's are corvids. NGL, and for some reason, I always think NGL stands for no good look. Like doesn't look good. Like, that doesn't look good. Not a good look. Not a good look. I forgot J's are corvids. Not a good look. But no, it means not going to lie. Crows do like a caw, and ravens are more like a rah, rah. Oh, here's a crow. Here's a raven. No, this is what I just tried to do an impression of. Okay, so my impression was this. Ha, ha. Let's see how close I am. Yeah, sure. That was fine. Non-vocal sounds. Not all the sound. Woodpeckers drum on trees or even stop signs proclaim territory and attract males. The twittering heard in the display of a male American woodcock is made by its wing feathers, and the winnowing sound of a displaying snipe comes from the vibration of its tail feathers. Watch a ruffed grouse making noise only with its wings. I want to hear. Oh. Wow, that's cool. So I learned from a previous, we talked about this in a previous stream already, but there's this idea called sononation. Oh. Well, I must be misspelling it. So mourning doves. If you've ever heard a mourning dove, this is probably going to be their cooing sound. So I always thought this is an owl sound, but it's actually the dove itself. It's a mourning dove. Look at it pulse like that. Did I know doves and pigeons are genetically identical? I think it depends on... I'm not sure what you mean by that, because pigeons are doves. Like another name for a pigeon is a rock dove. But so they also make this sound when they have whistly wings. That sound comes from their wings, not from their mouths. I'm gonna find a better video of this. All right. Well, anyway, the point is there's this idea called sononation, which is the sound that any that it's like any sound made by a bird that doesn't come from their syrinx. A wing whistle. Okay. Activities, noticing behaviors. Okay, we did it. All right, habitats.
Birds can be found just about anywhere, from forests and grasslands to deserts and tundra to the open ocean and literally to the ends of the earth in Antarctica and the high Arctic. They have remarkable adaptations that allow them to prosper just about every place. But species tend to specialize. Different species prefer distinct habitats. Even slight changes in the habitat can result in changes in the birds that are found there. When I take a walk on the trails in sapsucker woods at the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, moving from the tall mature woods into the more open second growth forest, I leave behind wood thrushes, ovenbirds, and red-eyed vireos, and encounter chestnut-sided warblers, American redstarts, and warbling vireos. When I get out of the woods and walk along the pond, I'm greeted by common yellowthroats, red-winged blackbirds, and swamp sparrows, all of whom prefer cattails to trees. Such habitat preferences are usually caused by differences in the way the birds make their living, what they eat, how they get their food, where they put the nests, things like that. In this lesson, I'll describe the different types of habitats that are important to birds, give examples of the types of birds that are common in each of them, and how they make their living there. We'll explore why some birds are so finicky that you will virtually never find them outside their special little habitat type, while others can be found almost anywhere. Finally, we'll examine how so many different kinds of birds can live in a single habitat without competing with each other for food. Hint, it's often not so much about what they eat, but the technique of how they look for their food. Every bird has to have a habitat. Let's explore what that means.
Okay. Think of the following types of habitats. We got forested habitats. There's more to a forest than the trees. The understory of small trees and shrubs can provide food and shelter too. Some birds walk on the forest floor to find food. Leaf litter can build up and find home to lots of invertebrates that are good food for birds. Some birds nest on the forest floor, some low in the understory, others high up in trees. Let's take a little break here. I just want to show you guys really quick that here on eBird, this is the site I use to track my bird watching. And I want to show you what I've been doing here. These are all my checklists, bird watching, since I got started in July, late July. Here's my most recent bird watching trip. And look at all these great birds I saw. I saw 41 mallards. You can enter them in, and it shows a little map and what birds you saw. And this is the one that I was most excited about seeing, a wood duck. Now, wood ducks are very common, but I have never seen one in LA. They're not as common in LA. It was marked as an uncommon bird. Look how beautiful wood ducks are. Look at this thing. Look at that beautiful color. It's so gorgeous, this pattern. It's like, wow, what a wood duck. It was just sitting right there. Sitting right there. I just turned a corner, boom, there was a wood duck. Hey, Platypus Surprise, thank you so much for the subscription. Its little hair is so cool. Isn't that gorgeous? And so that's the really cool thing. It was a spot I had been to 3 or 4 times. But every time I go, I see a bird I hadn't seen before. Now, that's because I'm just getting started. I've just started bird watching. But I've only gone, how many times does this say? 21 times I've been bird watching. And I have seen 59 species of bird. It's so much fun. I really love it. I went to Idlewild here with Lisa in the San Bernardino National Forest back in August, and I saw so many birds. What was the best one? Was it this day? 18 species. 3 species. Yeah, I saw 18 species this morning. Pygmy nuthatch. Oh, wait, there's a day I was even more successful. Oh, maybe that's the one I was thinking of. And then the other day, I saw 14 species here in an hour in LA by the Sepulveda Dam. And then look, 20 different species. It's so much fun. I really can't recommend enough. Going to the zoo, no, they gotta be wild birds. Where's the wood duck common? Well, we can find out right here on this very site. Look at this, wood duck. Here's its range map. So all over North America. That's made a little progress in Europe, actually, but it's all over North America. One thing that's really cool, I think if I zoom in here, is it going to show me the spots where it's been seen? No, this map just sticks with this. But look, if you want to see... This is the best website for birds. Look, you can really break it down. So, like, say you live in LA, like I do, and you want to see, you're like, where do people see wood ducks? Here are all the spots where they've seen them. And so you go click here, and you're like, well, let's see. I live up in, I live up in Burbank. I want to see a wood duck. What's the closest spot? Well, let's look over here. Click this, and then these are all the times that someone saw a wood duck. Look at this. In July, it's kind of surprising actually. And this person had got a photo of their wood duck. That does look like a wood duck. It's got the ring around the eye. And 120 black-necked stilt. These things are all over the place. They're so weird looking. Look at that. My favorite bird right now is the wood duck. This guy did a good job photographing these. Oh, a western kingbird. Whoa, could it be that the birds I saw the other day were western kingbirds, not Cashin's kingbirds? Well, okay, so common birds of a forest might include hummingbirds, owls, woodpeckers, flies, chickadees, creepers, thrushes, warblers. Aquatic habitats, wooded swamps, marshes, ponds. Oh, this is good to remember. Common birds of the forest might include woodpeckers, flycatchers, jays, chickadees, creepers, thrushes, and warblers. Want to remember that, okay. Gallinules and jacanas walk across floating vegetation with long toes to access food. Wrens, warblers, and blackbirds make their nests in reeds and rushes of water over marshes. So we've got in LA the Los Angeles River, which is a mostly paved river, but there is greenery in the middle of it, and there's lots of birds that hang out. There's a really wonderful place for bird watching. Ibis, ugh, they are so pretty. You love that ibis, huh? Sorry, guys, I'm just checking to see how my TikTok's doing. I'm addicted. Once you post a TikTok, you're like, I gotta check in on it. It's doing good. Oh, this TikTok is going. Oh, I just posted it an hour ago. It's already got 16,000 views. So this TikTok, we know this is gonna make it. Oh yeah, baby. Sandpipers and plovers love beaches and mudflats. Shrub habitats, shrubby old fields, chaparral, high desert. So this looks like every hillside in LA. Lots of birds skulking in dense undergrowth. Yeah, this is my problem. More easily heard than seen. Yep, I've had this problem. Some birds take advantage of all the exposed perches and sing from the tops of bushes. Some will nest in the ground in this habitat. Chicken-like birds. Raptors, hummingbirds, flycatchers, wrens, thrashers, bunting sparrows, warblers, and blackbirds. Raptors, hummingbirds, flycatchers, wrens, thrashers, bunting sparrows, warblers, and blackbirds. Open habitats. Many birds use the sky to do lots of things that birds and other habitats do from the ground. While no perches are available, a number of species hunt in flight. Many open country species sing from the sky, with some having elaborate flight displays to go along with their songs. When people make perches available, many birds make use of them. It's a common sight to see birds perched on telephone poles, power lines, and fences. Not all open habitats are equal in the eyes of many birds, although some species use a variety of open habitats. Others are more particular. The savanna sparrow can be found in most any open habitat that contains some grass. The grasshopper sparrow can be found in the same fields as the savanna, but it drops out if too many woody plants start to grow there long before the savanna sparrow would. Okay, generalists versus specialists. Some species have very specific requirements, are only found in specific places. We call these specialists. Other birds can be found on a wide variety of habitats using a variety of foods and foraging styles. The common raven. Yes, they're all the fuck over the place. It's even becoming a familiar urban resident much of its range. Yeah, it's all over the place. I mean, the ravens are the most common bird I see just out my own window. You can be very picky. Kirtland's warbler. It breeds only in jack pine woodlands from 5 to 15 years after they were burned. It needs small trees and open areas. It doesn't come into an area until the trees get to be a certain height, and it abandons it when they get too big and the canopy closes up. With successful fire suppression, Kirtland's warbler became endangered. Taken off the endangered species list. It breeds only in jack pine woodlands from 5 to 15 years after they were burned. So it needs the tree to be burned in order to live in it. Kirtland's warbler delisted. One of the charter members of the Endangered Species Act has completed its population recovery. Cool. Low of fewer than 200 breeding pairs to around 2,300 a day, more than double their recovery goal. It's conservation reliant. So now look, we could go on eBird and look up Kirtland warbler. One of the largest and rarest warblers. Breeds only in young jack pine forests in northern Michigan. Wow, look, almost nobody has seen one. 6,000 observations is very low. So this is its range. Now, why would it have been seen down there? I guess maybe it migrates down there. Winters in the Bahamas seldom seem... Yeah, they're at winters. Isn't that cool? Migration is really cool. You can zoom in. It's like seen around there. Neat.
LNS catalog number 13982.
Cool. Wow, and they have to trap cowbirds, parasitize the nests, so they have to protect them that way. So it takes a lot of forest management to make sure they don't die out. And you really got to think about how many species died out that we don't even know existed because, of all the foresting that happened early on in this country. Hey, Anthony Diaz, thanks for dropping by. Thanks for working on that episode, working on those shows. But Anthony Diaz, I wish I wintered in the Bahamas. All right, sharing a habitat. Dividing up a habitat and specializing in one food or way of getting food is called niche partitioning, and what allows so many different species to coexist with one another. An ecological niche is the role and position a species has in its environment, how it meets its needs for foods and shelter, how it survives, and how it reproduces. Warblers. These colorful birds all glean insects off branches, but in fact they each forage on slightly different parts of the tree, allowing multiple species of warblers to coexist with each other. Watch how different shorebirds divide up a single beach. I love shorebirds.
There are certain places during migration in winter where you just can't believe the amount of bird activity and the diversity of species. Places that are magnets to migratory birds. Louisiana's barrier islands are one of them. Between Louisiana's marshes and the open, bountiful waters of the Gulf of Mexico lies this ephemeral ribbon of delicate sandy islands. They provide the only sandy habitat in the region and enable great concentrations of birds to utilize the food-rich waters of the Mississippi Delta. During migration and in winter, birds converge there from all over the continent. The sanderling comes from the high Arctic. From the western prairies, the long-billed curlew. Least sandpipers breed across Canada's boreal forest. And western sandpipers come from coastal western Alaska. As many as 30 shorebird species make use of the islands during the year, where they join the pelicans, terns, skimmers, and other birds that reside there year-round. At first glance, the habitat appears to be rather uniform, but the multitude of shapes, sizes, bill types, behaviors reveals a much more complex picture. Different species forage in favored microhabitats, and they use the unique tools they possess to harvest particular sizes of prey and types of prey.
I appreciate that, Dapper Man John.
One bird that really stands out is
Sounds
our
healthy to
largest
me.
shorebird, the long-billed curlew.
I love this.
They have this incredibly long, decurved bill, and they're able to reach things deeper in the sand than any other species. You'll see them walking along, and sometimes they'll run forward because they've spotted a crab or something that's darted down into its burrow, and they'll take this long bill, shove it down into this hole, and start feeling around with a sensitive tip of the bill to find the prey item.
Sensitive
They're
tip of the
adapted to
bill.
reaching these burrow-dwelling animals that tend to live farther down in the sand, like certain species of crabs and shrimp, and they find most of them by foraging in the higher tidal areas where the substrate is drier and firmer.
What an incredible beak.
Marbled godwits are these tall, graceful shorebirds. They can live to be 30 years old.
So that's a very slightly different bird.
They're usually in these small flocks foraging in shallow water, and they're usually following a receding tide. And what they're doing is using this long, slightly upcurved bill, and they're more of a tactile forager. They put their very sensitive bill into the sand repeatedly in areas where they have a high probability of locating the food items that they're after, which include small bivalves like clams and types of marine worms. The ruddy turnstone is a really interesting bird to watch. They're very opportunistic in the way that they feed, and they have a lot of foraging methods. Their body and all of its components are really put together in a way that gives them a lot of leverage and strength for pushing things around, for walking, for clambering over things
Flip.
on the beach.
Flip. Flip.
They've got this stocky, stout little body and
Hey,
short,
Paula Mayo,
very
thanks for
powerful
coming
legs
by.
and feet.
We're learning about birds,
They've
yeah.
got a short, strong bill, and they use these attributes basically to muscle things around. They're out there flipping over shells, pulling through seaweed, pushing with their body and digging things up and finding little crustaceans and other small invertebrates to feed on.
I really like these birds. What are they called
Western
again?
sandpiper, finding little crustaceans.
Palomeo, do you or Palomeo, Paul Tamayo, do you stream on this account? Go follow Paul. Go click and give him a follow. Very great content creator.
And other small
Formerly at
invertebrates to feed
Kotaku.
on.
Turn me on to Mixolumia, which I might play after we watch some birds. Loved your video on Mixolumia. Wonderful puzzle game. Had a great time playing it.
Western sandpipers do a lot of their foraging, like a lot of the other very small sandpipers, by probing and pecking near the wet surface for a very small size class of organisms. It's incredible to watch them because they're foraging and you don't really actually see them catching anything. They're repeatedly pecking and probing or sifting through wet sand, and you know they're eating things, but their speed and reflexes are so much faster than ours that we can't even make out what they're eating. They're just on this constant, fast-paced quest for food.
Wow. Dunk, 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 dunk.
The piping plovers and semi-palmated plovers do what is a sort of a run, stop, run foraging method. They'll run for a little while, stop, survey the area around them, spot something, and then run and grab it. They are primarily foraging by sight. They have large eyes, they have great sight, and they just have this little short bill, so they're not probing deep into the substrate. They're locating things on the surface by sight and running over and grabbing them, over and over and over. They also use a technique where they'll put one foot out in front of them and sort of wiggle it on the surface. And this might disturb potential prey, so they move and they can spot them better.
Wow, it's
Reddish
crazy
egret's
how
foraging technique is
animals are just like, especially birds, are just like these machines that are built to find food and reproduce in a certain way. You know, like they just have their niche and they're designed for that niche in a particular area. To the extent that we talked about last week about migration and about how birds like have genetic predispositions to certain areas. Like they are certainly learning from each other. There's an acquired knowledge too in migration, but part of it is just genetic, that like the bird's genetics refer to when the light changes because the year is entering a different period, flying from one spot to another, and how like specific that is. And same thing for this, that like they're just machines that are built for this particular kind of foraging. And that's what makes you realize how easy it is for animals to go endangered or extinct, because it's like, well, if that kind of animal doesn't exist anymore, that bird doesn't have a way to eat. They're not like general, like I guess if they're specialists, right? Like crows, you know, will find something, but or humans or like dogs would find something, right? Like they're not relying on one form of trash. They go eat another form of trash. But these birds are like so specific. Yeah, it's really magical.
spectacular to watch. They're basically herding and flushing schools of small fish in the shallows, and they do this by running and leaping and raising their wings. They're basically corralling the fish and trying to corner them in the shallows.
Wow.
And eventually they'll chase one down and jab down and spear this nice fish out of the water.
Great
the abundance
video.
and diversity of bird life reveals the richness of the habitats found on Louisiana's barrier islands. For many species, their very existence is inextricably tied to these habitats. These birds have evolved over millennia in concert with these subtle features that it's hard for us to even see.
That was a great video. Good job. Good job to these folks. Okay, next up we got the activities. I don't find the activities super useful. Habitats birds depend on. Ah, this is going to be useful. Okay.
Birds can be found just about anywhere, from forests and grasslands to deserts and tundra to the open ocean and literally to the ends of the earth in Antarctica and the high Arctic.
Good day, Craig.
They have remarkable adaptations that allow them to prosper just about every place. But species tend to specialize. Different species prefer distinct habitats. Even slight changes in the habitat can result in changes in the birds that are found there.
Oh, Paul, let me say, cannot be easy work, sweating or freezing over camera gear filming birds. Yeah, I mean, just doing bird watching, I've been getting into bird watching. It makes me really appreciate wildlife photographers. Like, it makes me understand why so many people who have, like, a nice camera, like, you know, there's a whole hobby of, like, wildlife photography, just if you're a bird watcher. And yeah, it's a real challenge, like getting it in the right light with the right lens and everything. Like, you really got to know your equipment. I'm not particularly interested in doing it myself because like photos of the birds already exist. Like, I took a crappy photo of the wood duck I saw so I could prove that I saw it, but I don't need to like figure out, okay, how do I get close enough to take a good photo? But yeah, it's technical work. It's a science. Absolutely. A science and an art. Yeah, extremely, extremely difficult to know how to capture that properly.
When I take a walk on the trails in sapsucker woods at the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, moving from the tall, mature wood...
Oh, wait, we already did this. Okay, this is the confusing. All right, sorry. Here we go. All right, I think we actually don't need to know how to tracking and sharing your bird sightings. I've already... Okay, let's do them. Let's do them. We can learn about this. I've
Many
already
people
been
like to
tracking my
keep
bird
track of the
sightings,
birds
but
they've seen. Others don't, and just like to enjoy each new encounter.
You folks might like
And that's
to learn
okay.
this.
Everyone's entitled to enjoy birds in their own way. But if you do want to keep track of the birds you've seen, there are a number of ways to go about it. Some people like to make a mark in their field guide beside a bird they've seen. Other people use the lists provided in some field guides to check off their birds. And some even keep spreadsheets on their computer. Some people like to couple their sightings with drawings, notes, and photographs of the birds they saw. The Cornell Lab offers an online database called eBird that can store all your lists of bird sightings, as well as notes and photographs.
Lindsay's seen a lot
These
of birds.
checklists are shared with researchers and other birders for science, conservation, and just plain fun.
This is how I do it.
In addition to lists, some people keep track of their experiences by journaling and sketching, using their artistic skills to learn new birds or to jog their memories and relive past experiences.
Now that's really nice.
I recently rediscovered my very first bird list, a life list that I filled out in the back of a children's book about birds when I was probably 6 or 7.
Cute.
The first part's clearly in my mother's handwriting, 6 whole birds. The next section's in my childish printing, including things like bluebird, blackbird, redbird. There's another section which I obviously came back to fill in a few years later, now using cursive writing to add in new species. Nearly 60 years later, I keep most of my sightings in eBird, where I can find how many times I've ever seen any particular bird, keep track of how many birds I've seen in any place I've been this year, and how many I've seen around the world.
This app is amazing.
I like keeping lists. I even have one of birds I see from my desk at work. Lots of people, myself included, enjoy being slightly competitive with their lists, trying to see more in one year than you've seen before, or more than your birding buddy. But ultimately for me, looking at a bird on the list from long ago brings back memories of where I've been and what I've seen, memories that I might not have if I didn't keep those old lists. In this lesson, we'll introduce you to a variety of methods for keeping track of your sightings and some tools to help you do it.
All right, we don't need to spend too much time on this here, but we got life lists, checklists. I was kind of curious what these look like. Below is an example of the first page of the checklist I wrote, recording a visit to the Hebron Fish Hatchery and Wetlands. Yeah, it's really cute, isn't it, Paul? Recording a visit to the Hebron Fish Hatchery and Wetlands, Licking County, Ohio. Official field trip, Springfield, Ohio. Seriously birding only a couple years. I've only been seriously birding 6 months, if you can call it serious. I guess I've been birding 13 or so times. Field notes. In addition to keeping track of the species of birds they see, many bird watchers also make field notes and drawings. Sometimes it's just to capture a memory. Other times it's ways to look at a bird more closely. Taking notes can also serve as inspiration. I made these notes in graduate school, and I thought I might be looking at a rare kind of bird at the time called a Caribbean coot. I wasn't sure if that's what it was, so I want to capture specific features of the bird, especially the marks on the head. See the drawing. Hopes I could determine if it was the rare bird I hoped it would be. I didn't have a camera at the time, so my rudimentary drawing and written description would have to do. Was it a Caribbean coot? He didn't even say. You might want to consider creating a nature journal providing an organized and potentially beautiful log of your observations. This seems like a lot. But it's really wholesome, isn't it? They have a whole course on nature journaling and field sketching. Doesn't it seem like this is like incredibly restful to take this course?
Hey y'all, I'm Liz Clayton Fuller. I'd like to invite you to join me for my course on nature journaling and field sketching.
I noticed this dragonfly that was sitting on the ground.
And I stared at the hummingbirds for an hour and a half.
And I just happened to notice a spider actually capture an insect in its web.
I stopped and I looked a little bit closer, and it was a mink with a fish as large as itself in its mouth.
Nature journaling is
documenting things that you're experiencing in nature.
It's a really good way to understand the natural world a little more.
It's really taught me how to observe nature
It's drawing, it's annotating, it's writing down observations.
It's a thought process because you're studying when you're looking and you're going back and forth.
It's very easy to go into like a time warp, and then all of a sudden you just spend 4 hours drawing a starfish.
Sketching is a really nice way to just
How wholesome is this?
reflect
Everyone's
and
like,
relax.
"Ugh, this is
It's
so
a lot
great."
of fun, like looking at something and being able to reproduce it on paper.
Do you have to be good at drawing?
Paul,
No.
oh, this is the way
It's
to log
about
off of Twitter.
The progress
yeah.
is not really about how good you are coming in.
It's the memory that comes out of it that's most important.
I just feel like a kid again, just discovering the wonders of nature.
I feel creative when I'm nature journaling.
It's for you.
You just start putting your thoughts on paper and see where it goes.
I hope you'll join me for this course. I can't wait to share it with you.
Now this course is almost too wholesome. Like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I'm not drawing this. I'm not doing this. How long did this person take to do this? This is very wonderful. But this must have taken hours. 4 hours drawing a starfish sounds really good right now. Yeah, I would like to learn to draw birds, I think. I would like to learn to draw birds. I think that would be very nice and restful. The lists are for you. Okay, mark topic complete. What is eBird? We've done this already. I've taught you guys about eBird. Share your backyard sightings. Project Feeder Watch is a winter-long survey of birds that visit backyards, nature centers, community areas, and other locales through North America. Submit their observations to Feeder Watch. Nest Watch. I don't know if I've ever seen a nest. This does seem fun. Become a certified nest watcher. It is about the journey, Paul. Is it difficult to find bird nests? I don't know where to find a bird nest. Birds are weirdly hard to draw. The Christmas bird count. All right, let's learn about that. What is the Christmas bird count? Active circles. Weirdly, this is where I normally birdwatch. So it's strange that it's just like excluded from the circle. This is the river where I go bird watching normally. Okay, wait. What is the Christmas bird count? Join the Christmas bird count. Here we go. Conducted between September 14th and January 5th. An early winter bird census. Okay, it's just a special count. How birds can help save the world with your help.
Our world is constantly changing. Some things in life change for the better, some for the worse. For me, as a person who's constantly thinking about birds,
Hey, Peace Paul, thanks
that
for dropping
overall
by.
feeling of better or worse is tied to the birds that I'm able to find around me. When I was a boy in the 1960s in southwestern Ohio, the call of the northern bobwhite was a common sound on my grandparents' farm. It's the sound of my childhood, and it always makes me smile when I hear it. At that same time, only 4 pairs of bald eagles could be found breeding in the entire state, none in the area where I lived. 60 years later, sadly, the bobwhites are scarce. They're now a species of concern in the state. And yet the eagles are now relatively common, with more than 300 pairs nesting in Ohio in 2019. Many of us have these kinds of stories. That's because birds are such a strong part of our sense of place, our sense of belonging to our neighborhood. And if we pay attention, we notice changes over time.
Look
and
at
it
the
matters
cormorants
to
behind
us.
him.
But other people ask, well, why should we care about them? What good are birds anyway? In this lesson, we'll consider different ways that birds contribute to our lives and our well-being. Then we'll look at evidence to find out how birds are doing now. We'll see that some birds are doing okay, but many, many species of birds are in trouble. Finally, we'll learn how people have been successful helping birds in the past and how we can help now. We'll explore a few ways how you can make a difference for the birds of the world. Because for me, there'd be a lot less joy in the world without being able to watch birds.
I agree with this. Why birds matter. You can find birds anywhere in the world. Canaries in the coal mine. Canaries are chosen as sentinels carbon monoxide. Birds matter to plants. Many bird species rely on plants for food, and plants rely on birds to produce or spread their seeds. Medium-sized bird with a long, sharp bill. In the fall, the nutcracker goes into food storage mode, harvesting seeds from white bark pine cones. Placing seeds in a specialized pouch under its tongue, each nutcracker carries up to 150 seeds per trip and buries them in caches up to 15 miles away. Almost all high-altitude tree life in the Yellowstone ecosystem is dominated by white bark pines, almost all of which are planted by nutcrackers. Hummingbirds and flowers. Yeah, we know they need them to pollinate. Birds matter to other animals. One of the most overlooked but essential roles played by birds is as scavengers. Vultures may be a little ugly to some. Hey, rude. Be nice to vultures. We should be all be grateful for the ecosystem services they provide. With featherless heads, they dive headfirst into carcasses, eating the decaying flesh and leaving behind almost nothing that could transmit disease. With the most highly acidic stomachs in the animal world, vultures are able to neutralize most pathogens. Their stomach acids can even digest bones. Wow. Many threatened or endangered. Next time you see a vulture circling overhead, take a moment to appreciate its role in cleaning up our environment. Thank you. Are birds in trouble? Yeah, they fucking are. 17% down among eastern forest birds. 29% among western forest birds. Shit. 37% among forest birds. 53% among grassland birds. Yeah, this is terrible. I read about this in 2019. This is shocking. In 2019, scientists asked a simple question. How have the number of birds in North America changed over the past 50 years? Researchers looked for changes in 528 of the most common bird species in North America. This is actually learning this got me started bird watching. This led to the staggering conclusion that collectively bird populations have dropped by nearly 30% since 1970. We have 1/3 of the birds that we did 50 years ago. 2.9 billion fewer birds are alive in the U.S. and Canada today compared with 50 million years ago. Isn't that unbelievable as a number? Isn't that fucking crazy? No one talks about that. Some habitats are home with birds completely with steep declines. 700 million birds. Shorebird abundance has dropped 37%. Like, and in 1970, America was already like super developed in 1970. I know it's gotten, I'm sure, much more since then, but like, it's house cats, but it's also like environment loss. And I mean, just think about like, like I said, in Los Angeles, the LA River is now just this little channel, in between houses. Like, look at how, tree loss. Well, here we go. Why is this happening? Habitat loss is probably the single biggest driver of population decline. Logging conversion to croplands to pollution to house developments, because migrating species rely on more than one habit throughout their annual cycle. They're especially vulnerable to habitat loss. I mean, there's just less places for birds to live. Like, are you inside a building? A bird doesn't live there now, whereas they would have before because there'd be trees there and shit, Declines in insects. Yep, insect populations have gone way down. I did an amazing podcast with an entomologist named Akira. Ooh, I'm blanking on his last name, but it's a really good episode. It's about how insect populations are declining and how everyone should love insects. Climate change can make the impact of habitat loss and insect declines even worse. Yeah. What about the rest of the world? Bird populations throughout the world face the challenge of habitat loss, insect declines, and climate change. Not all bad news. Some bird species in North America have rebounded in the last half century. For example, waterfowl populations have grown by 50%. Raptor populations have tripled since the banning of DDT. And many species, particularly the Endangered Species Act, have shown population increases, such as 200,000 more bald eagles alive today compared with 1970. That's amazing. I saw some bald eagles in Alaska years ago, like a year or two ago, and it was amazing to see a bald eagle in person. I have not heard of the windshield phenomenon. What is the windshield phenomenon? Feel free to enlighten me. Ah, the wood duck. This is the duck I saw and I was so excited about. They have really rebounded as well. You might have noticed all these rebounds have occurred because of human action. By working together, we can change the fate of bird species for the better. It's up to us to make decisions that will benefit birds and other wildlife. Yes, we will do it. Okay, how can we do it? Make windows safer. Do citizen science. Reduce plastic use. Drink shade-grown coffee. Keep cats indoors. Use native plants and avoid pesticides. 7 simple actions to help the birds. Make windows safer. Make your windows more visible to birds. The American Bird Conservancy has a list of recommended products you can use on windows in your home. Estimated 1 billion birds are killed every year by free-roaming cats. Keeping your cat inside is not only safer for birds, it's also safer for your cat. True, we did a whole segment of that on Adam Ruins Everything about cats. Give me a break. Plant native plants. There are more acres of lawn than of crops in the United States. That's true. That means that what we all choose to do with our lawns can really add up. Try growing native plants that are good for the whole ecosystem, including birds. How about that? They're easier to grow, less watering, fertilizer, not sure where to start. Incredible. Bird-friendly plants for your area. Okay, this is not a great video. Reduce pesticides used. Drink coffee that's good for birds. You know the dozens of North American songbirds spend their winter in Central America, where some of the best coffee in the world comes from. Although coffee is a shade-loving shrub that grows well in mixed forests, typically grown in sunny monocultural plots. By buying coffee that is labeled bird-friendly or shade-grown, you can support forest diversity and bird life. Reduce and reuse plastics, of course. Citizen science. Support organizations that work to protect and restore wetlands, shorelands, grasslands, and other key bird habitats in your local community or even on national and international levels. Yes. Mark topic complete. Skip the activities. Mark topic complete. Mark lesson complete. We did it. I can print my certificate. Let's see. Joy of bird watching. That's the certificate? Okay. Well, I don't feel super accomplished for completing that course, but we did complete the Joy of Bird Watching course. All right, I really recommend these courses if you're interested in birds from allaboutbirds.org. They're pretty cheap. I think this one was like $20 or something. And then up next, we did all these. Up next, we've got, I've already purchased Be a Better Birder, How to Identify Bird Songs. But we're not going to do that right now because we've already been streaming for an hour and a half. We will be doing How to Identify Bird Songs next week, next Monday. You guys want to tell me your bird stories before I log off? Or I could play a little Mixolumia or some Tetris. How about?